Okay, by now we should have finished up through Boolean lesson 4 on our PCfiddle.com website. We are moving over to lesson 5 right now. We're going to talk a little bit about how all of this works. So we've done this or that and this and that using Boolean logic. Now we've got our not variable, not this function of how all of this works. We call that normally closed. So this is not open, it is closed, which means that the current will flow through it because the switch is always turned to the on position, the normally closed value. A little confusing here, so try to follow with me. What we're going to do here is we're going to take our normally closed contact here from the middle, and we're going to drag it over top of our input again as before. So now we've got our input, our output. We're going to switch this over to input, and you can see if we turn input on, then our normally closed contact goes off, has no electricity flowing through it. So this now turns into an open contact, and this turns into a closed contact when we flip the switch on. So normally open means when we flip the switch, we are breaking the circuit on this one, and we are closing the circuit or completing it on this one. So it's a backwards, just the opposite of normally open is normally closed. So that power value toggles the opposite function of what it's supposed to be. So again, it's a not function. It can be a little bit tricky as you're going through. So you got to kind of pay attention to how all of it works. In other words, normally closed means normally electricity flows through it until you push the button and then electricity stops flowing through it. So let's look at it that way. What we're going to do here, we're going to go over and choose the other tab at the top, and we're just going to throw away the normally open contact. And now what we have is our normally closed, and you notice that our power output is suddenly on. So if we push the off button, when we turn the circuit on, the output stops working because the normally closed value is now the opposite of what it is. So it's a not command again. So yeah, it can get a little tricky. You just got to remember that when this is normally closed and we push this button, it's doing the opposite of what it normally should be doing. Um, Great. Moving on. Let's go ahead and hit the check button. It'll make more sense later as to why we have this feature. So this is going to be a little bit trickier here, getting into lesson 6. This is logic. So our goal here is to find the output on this section. This is a little challenging for you, so you got to remember that when a normally closed value is on, in this case input 1 is on, that means electricity is not flowing through it. So really our goal is to make green lights all the way across using any one of these inputs. So let's take a look and see if what we've learned through our lesson so far. So let's start with input 1 here. Input 1 is normally closed, but it's on. So we want to open that up. We want to normally close. We want it to be off so we can let electricity flow through. This one's normally open, which means we want to turn it on so electricity flows through. And now we have a choice board. So we have input 3 or input 4 or input 5. So you can use any one, 3, 4, or 5 to allow electricity to flow through these branches. Let's look at electricity 3. If we hit 3, then that turns on. We turn off 4 because it's normally closed and electricity will flow through. And if we do input 5, we want to turn that on. We can do all 3, so on, off, on for number 3, 4, 5. But as long as one of those is functioning, we should be able to get electricity through. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and turn on 5 so we can see that the electricity is now going this way through our circuit. Input 6, we have to turn it on, and then you have a choice between 7 and 8. So we can either turn 7 off or we can turn 8 on, and now our output functions. So congratulations, you've now completed some logic in the circuit. Go ahead and take a few minutes to explore that, and I will catch up with you again on lesson 7.